Hi, Cameron. It's John. I saw your question of being new to the group that looking to expand your career. 25 years old. Definitely kudos to you for getting started this early in your life and stuff. These are definitely things that I'd look more into when I was your age, had known. And yeah, I see that you're ready to get into business for yourself full time. So some of the things that I would consider. So starting a business, certainly you have creative control. You've definitely also got a longer runway typically. And we all know about the failure rates of startups and stuff. Most of all is lots of trial and error. I mean, ideally you'll find advice along the way, folks who can help you, possibly small development councils where you're at. But most important, it's the time that's you have to invest in it. I mean, there's no getting around that. Even if you have a good amount of starting capital to start with and stuff like that. What I wish I'd known at your age that was possible and stuff is actually all the advantages and how buying a business is a lot easier than we imagine. Especially right now, there's a timing aspect to it. We can definitely talk more about that down the road. Any case, so what you're getting then is a stable cash flow if you buy right. And like I said, there's things about that. It skips the painful trial and error. You've got proven systems. And most important, you've got time and freedom. I see that you're starting a young family, stuff like that. And I've heard this before. I mean, it seems contrary that, it seems like, if you have a business, then you basically have to invest time. Yeah, there's no doubt there's a steep learning curve. But again, this is all a lot easier than you would ever imagine stuff. Um, the team that I'm working with, we have helped individuals like yourself to successfully buy businesses using SBA financing, something that's been around for 70 years. Lee Levinson, a gentleman in our team, 25 years experience of SBA lending. So you've got folks who they know what they're doing and stuff. What to look for? You want to find businesses that have at least 200 to 500,000 revenue, generating a minimum of 75 to 150, SDEs, still discretionary earnings, otherwise known as cash flow, and focuses on the businesses that you can get your brain around, like kind of, something that you find that you don't sit there go scratching your head and wondering, what's that really about, stuff like that. Doesn't mean that you have to, know all the nuances yet that you understand all the in and outs. It just means that you can basically get your brain around what the key aspects of it are, what the key pieces, how they work. And then bottom line is, what do you bring to the table? What is it that not just your current strengths, you talk about being contractor and stuff like that, but also which future, skills you can see yourself developing. Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it leadership? On a scale that you're not used to and stuff. So those are some of the key things I'd really advise you consider. And you might be saying, okay, John, that all sounds great. So what does this look like? How does this actually play out? So this is actually a deal that we've currently got, on the table that we're working with and stuff. It's a construction engineering business. Basically they do the different types of surveying sort of stuff. And it's got a sole discretionary earnings of 243, bit out of what you're used to, stuff like that. But and the value of the business, based on the general rule of thumb, is that that's worth about 729,000, which means that with a 10% down payment, and this is, like I said, this is an SBA type deal that we've been doing for years, with hundreds of sellers and buyers, working together. This is a relatively quote unquote easy, to finance deal. And you're saying, well, John, I don't have $72,000, and that's kind of why, I'm here asking for advice and stuff. Here's the thing. Typically on a deal like this, if we have the seller contribute half of the down payment, in other words, they will carry a note or whatever that they're willing to do and stuff like that, then that's actually only 36,000, and even may that seem possibly high, stuff like that. But the bottom line is that then it shows the SBA that the seller has confidence in your ability to succeed in this business, confidence in, this successfully, doing this transition and stuff like that. And bottom line is this is a deal that we do day in, day out. What that leads to, like we said, is with that kind of cash flow, the debt service then for the loan to, from the SBA is covered by the cash flow, leading to net income of 133,000. 4 years later, the debt to payoff is about 437, leading to a profit of 535. And even if you spend 90,000 a year, that still leads to a profit of 175,000 for a down payment into what we could, which is the real kind of kicker of all this, to the next larger business. Now you can buy a business that's worth almost $2 million, even more cash flow. And that's basically how you're able to, again, finance the debt service loan through the cash flow. And meanwhile, even paying off $1 million, of that loan and stuff, you're still netting over $1 million. So we're talking that this is a proven system. We've done this for hundreds of, folks. And basically, the program's not cheap, the cost of the program, you recover it as working capital. It's basically, we show the receipts to the SBA. So I'm not going to tell you that this is the bargain basement. There's people like Cody Sanchez or whoever will tell you that you can get it for no money down. We don't do that. We do what legitimately works. We do solid programs of helping buyers to get into businesses that they couldn't normally get into by themselves and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot, just buying a business itself is a lot of trial and error. We talked about the startups things and stuff. And, if we can help folks to avoid that pain, that's our goal. As mentioned, this is a real deal. This is a current business that we're currently representing out in Kentucky and stuff. Asking price is $600,000, and as you notice, the value that we would say it's roughly worth is about $729,000. Just like buying real estate, you make your money on when you buy. So this is a really solid deal. I'm not trying to sell you a business in Kentucky and stuff like that, because of course you may have no interest in moving your family to Kentucky. You may have no interest in this type of business stuff. But like I said, we help buyers to find deals like this. This is, a business that we're currently representing stuff. So let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them. And definitely look forward to your success.